You stuff your mouth and lift no finger, like a parasite in this house. The words hit me harder than any slap. My daughter-in-law stood in the kitchen, arms crossed, eyes sharp, her voice loud enough for the walls to hear. I had paid for the food on the table. I had paid the rent. I had paid the bills. I had opened my home and my heart, yet she looked at me like I was nothing. I felt my hands shake as I held my cup of tea. My grandson slept in the next room, safe and warm, unaware. I stayed quiet like I always did, but inside my chest something broke. I asked myself one question as I stared at the floor. How did love turn into this, and what would happen if I finally spoke? She did not wait for an answer. She turned her back and walked away, leaving her words hanging in the air like smoke. My son stood near the door. He said nothing. He did not look at me. That hurt more than her words. Silence filled the room. The clock ticked. My tea went cold. That night I sat on my bed and stared at my phone. My fingers hovered over one name. I had promised myself never to press it. I had promised to keep peace no matter the cost. I thought of my grandson. I thought of the years I swallowed my pain. I pressed the button and made one phone call. The line rang. I did not know then how much would change after that sound. Let me tell you how I reached that moment. I was a grandmother named Meera. I lived a simple life. I woke early, prayed, cooked and smiled. I believed family mattered more than pride. I raised my son alone after my husband passed away. I worked long hours as a tailor. My fingers stitched clothes for others while my heart stitched dreams for my boy. My son Arjun grew up kind and gentle. He studied well, he respected elders. When he met Ria, I welcomed her with open arms. She was smart and spoke fast. She dreamed big. I admired her fire. I told myself her sharp edges came from a hard past. After they married, they struggled. Rent was high, jobs were uncertain. I owned a small house from my husband. I offered them one room, free, no conditions. I said family stays together. At first things felt warm. We ate meals together, we laughed. I watched my grandson after he was born. I fed him, rocked him, sang old songs. I felt useful. I felt loved. Slowly the air changed. Ria began to count things. Who used the fan? Who ate more rice? Who used more water? She spoke in jokes at first, then her tone turned sharp. She said I rested too much. She said I moved slow. She said old people waste space. I told myself to stay calm. I told myself to stay quiet. I paid the electricity bill. I paid the grocery bill. I paid the school fee when Arjun lost his job for 3 months. I sold my gold bangles, the last gift from my husband, to cover hospital costs when Ria fell sick. I did not tell anyone. I did not want praise. I believed love grows in silence. Arjun changed too. He avoided long talks, he left early, he returned late. When I tried to speak, he said work tired him. I believed him. One afternoon I heard Ria on the phone. She spoke in a low voice. I did not mean to listen. Her words slipped through the door. She does nothing, Ria said. She sits and eats. She thinks this house is hers. My chest tightened. I leaned against the wall. I wanted to knock and speak. Fear held me back. I stayed silent. Weeks passed, the tension grew. Ria stopped greeting me. She kept my grandson away during meals. She said he needed quiet. She said my stories confused him. One evening, Arjun handed me a list. He said expenses were rising. He said everyone must help. I asked how. He said I should give my savings each month. I agreed. I told myself this was family duty. My savings shrank. My heart grew heavy. Still, I smiled at my grandson and told him stories of brave kings and kind queens. Then came the day in the kitchen. Ria had friends over. They laughed loud. I stayed in my room. When they left, Ria found me eating a bowl of rice. She snapped. Her words came out fast and cruel. She said I stuffed my mouth. She said I lifted no finger. She said I lived like a parasite. I felt small. I felt old. I felt invisible. Arjun said nothing. That night I cried into my pillow. I thought of leaving. I thought of going to a small rented room. Then I thought of my grandson waking up without me. I stayed. Days later I found an envelope under the sofa while cleaning. It held bank papers. My name was on none of them. The account belonged to Arjun and Ria. The balance shocked me. Large deposits, many transfers. I counted the dates. Each matched the days I gave my savings. My hands shook. I took the papers back and placed them where I found them. My heart raced. I did not sleep. I started to notice things: new phone, new clothes, weekend trips they said were work. Ria's tone grew bolder. She spoke of moving to a bigger place. She said old people slow progress. One night I heard them argue. Ria's voice rose. She will never leave on her own, she said. We need pressure. Arjun replied in a tired voice, give me time. I pressed my hand over my mouth. Pressure. The word echoed in my head. The next morning I checked my bank book. My account was nearly empty. Transfers I did not approve. My signature looked strange, shaky, not mine. I felt dizzy. I sat on the bed and breathed slow. I finally understood. They were taking my money. They wanted my house. They wanted me gone. I felt fear, then anger, then a calm I had never felt before. I knew silence would destroy me. That evening after the kitchen insult, I sat with my phone. I stared at the name saved for years but never used. Advocate Sharma, my late husband's friend, a man who believed truth should stand tall. The phone rang. He answered. I said my name, my voice shook. He listened. He asked clear questions. He told me to keep calm. He told me not to confront anyone yet. He told me to gather proof. As I ended the call, footsteps approached my door. Ria's shadow fell across the floor. She knocked once hard. We need to talk, she said. I held my phone tight. My heart pounded. I knew this talk would not be kind. I knew something worse waited behind her words. I opened the door. And that was when she smiled in a way I had never seen before. I standing at my bedroom door, facing the woman who wanted me gone, holding the truth in my hands, and realizing the real fight had only begun. Ria stood in my doorway with a smile that did not reach her eyes. Her lips curved upward, but her face stayed tight. She folded her arms and leaned against the doorframe as if she owned the room. In that moment, I felt like a guest in my own house. We need to talk, she said again, slower this time. I stepped back and let her enter. My heart beat fast, but my face stayed calm. Years of silence had trained me well. She sat on the edge of my bed without asking. She looked around the room. At my old cupboard, my faded curtains, the framed photo of my husband near the lamp. You live too comfortably, she said. You eat, sleep, rest, you do nothing else. I swallowed. I thought of the meals I cooked, the clothes I washed, the nights I stayed awake with a crying baby while she slept. I did not speak. Ria continued. Arjun and I plan to move soon, bigger place, better area for the child, we need freedom. I nodded slowly. That sounds good, I said. She raised an eyebrow. Then you should understand, she said. You will need to make other arrangements. The words landed hard. I felt a sharp pain behind my eyes. Other arrangements, I repeated softly. She smiled again. You are old, Margie, you need quiet, maybe a small room somewhere or an old age home. They care for people like you. People like you. I felt heat rise in my chest. Still I stayed quiet. When do you plan to move? I asked. Soon, she replied, very soon. She stood up. At the door she turned back. Do not worry, she said, we will help you pack. She left before I could respond. I sat on the bed for a long time. My phone lay beside me. Advocate Sharma's words echoed in my mind. Do not confront, gather proof. The next morning I woke early. I moved quietly through the house. Arjun and Ria slept. I made tea and sat at the table with my bank book and a notebook. I began to write. I wrote dates, I wrote amounts. I wrote when Arjun asked for money. I wrote when Ria fell sick. I wrote when my gold bangles disappeared. My hand trembled, but my mind felt clear. Later that day I went to the bank. I walked slowly, holding my purse close. The bank manager knew me. I had opened my account years ago. I asked for my statement. He looked confused. He showed me papers, withdrawals, transfers, signatures. These are not mine, I said. He frowned. They match the records, he said. I pointed at the signature. Look closely, I said. Mine is steady, this shakes. He studied it longer. His face changed. You should file a complaint, he said. I nodded. I thanked him and left. On my way home I stopped at a small photocopy shop. I copied every paper I had found. I kept one set in my bag. I hid another set inside an old pillow cover at home. That evening Arjun spoke to me. We are under pressure, he said, avoiding my eyes. Ria feels stressed, the house feels crowded. I looked at him, I saw the boy I raised, tired, confused, afraid. You took money from my account, I said calmly. He froze. Ria said you agreed, he replied after a pause. I did not, I said. Silence filled the room, he rubbed his face with his hands. We needed help, he said. She said it was easier this way. Easier? I felt tears rise, but I held them back. You forged my name, I said. You stole from me. He whispered, I am sorry. Sorry did not return my savings. Sorry did not erase the insult. That night I locked my door. Days passed. Ria acted sweet in front of others. She called me Margie loudly. She served me tea when guests came. When they left, her face hardened again. I watched carefully, I listened. One afternoon, Ria spoke to her sister on speakerphone. She did not know I stood near the door. She will leave soon, Ria said. I have pushed enough, the house will be ours. Arjun already agreed. Her sister laughed. Old people cling, she said. Good, you are strong. Ria laughed too. My hands shook. I returned to my room and sat on the floor. I pressed my back against the wall and breathed. That evening I called Advocate Sharma again. I told him everything. He spoke firmly. This is financial abuse, he said, and property manipulation. The house is legally yours. What should I do? I asked. Do not leave, he said, and prepare yourself. We will act when the time is right. The next week, Ria brought papers home. She placed them on the table. These are relocation plans, she said. Sign here, it says you agree to move out within 1 month. I read the paper, my name was printed, my consent assumed. I need time, I said. She frowned. You have had years, she snapped. Arjun stood behind her. His eyes begged me to comply. I folded the paper and placed it back. I will think, I said. That night I hid my documents inside my old prayer book. No one touched that. The pressure increased. Ria stopped cooking for me. She locked the kitchen at night. She told my grandson I was sick and should rest alone. He cried at my door. I held him and whispered stories until he slept. One morning a stranger came to the house, a man in formal clothes. Ria greeted him warmly. This is the agent, she said loudly, for the house. My heart skipped. I stepped forward. This is my house, I said. The man looked surprised. Ria laughed. Not for long, she said. That evening Advocate Sharma visited quietly. He reviewed my documents. He nodded. They have gone too far, he said. Tomorrow we act. My heart pounded, fear mixed with relief. That night I barely slept. I listened to every sound. At dawn I heard Ria on the phone. Tomorrow she signs or she leaves, Ria said. Either way we win. I sat up straight. Tomorrow. I held my prayer book tight. I knew what I had to do. I knew silence would end me. I looked at the door as footsteps approached again. I waiting for the day they planned to remove me, knowing I was ready to speak, and knowing they had no idea what was coming next. The morning they planned to push me out began like any other day. The sun rose softly. Birds chirped outside the window. The house smelled of tea and toast, yet my chest felt tight as if the air had grown heavy overnight. I woke before everyone else. I washed my face and sat on my bed holding my prayer book. My hands felt steady for the first time in many months. Fear still lived inside me, but strength stood beside it. I heard Ria moving in the kitchen. Cups clinked louder than usual. She wanted me to hear her. She wanted me to feel small before the day even started. I stepped out of my room. Ria looked at me and smiled wide. Good morning, Margie, she said in a sweet voice. Today is an important day. Arjun stood near the window. He stared outside, as if the sky held answers he could not face indoors. I know, I replied. She placed a file on the table, thick, heavy, full of papers. These are the final documents, she said. After this, things will be simple for everyone. I sat down slowly. Before I sign anything, I said, I want to say something. Ria waved her hand. Later, she said, first read. I opened the file. The words blurred at first, but I forced myself to focus. It said I agreed to leave the house. It said I had received money in return. It said I had no future claim. Every sentence was a lie. I closed the file. I will not sign, I said. Ria's smile vanished. You are being difficult, she snapped. We have been patient. But patient. I looked at Arjun. You forged my signature, I said. You took my savings, you sold my gold, you planned to sell my house. His shoulders dropped. He did not deny it. Ria slammed her hand on the table. Enough drama, she shouted. You are old, you are weak, you cannot fight us. I stood up, my legs shook, but I stood tall. I am not weak, I said. I stayed silent, that is different. She laughed. Who will believe you, she asked. You have no proof. I reached into my bag and placed photocopies on the table. Bank statements, signature samples, withdrawal slips, dates and notes in my handwriting. Ria froze. Arjun's face turned pale. I went to the bank, I said. I spoke to people, I asked questions, I kept records. Ria recovered fast. These mean nothing, she said. You are confused. At that moment the doorbell rang. The sound cut through the room like thunder. Ria frowned. Who is that? She asked. I walked to the door and opened it. Advocate Sharma stood there, calm and firm. 2 police officers stood beside him. Ria stepped back. What is this? She demanded. This, Advocate Sharma said, is the result of fraud, theft and harassment. The officers entered. One asked for identification. The other looked around the house and took notes. Ria began to shout. She said lies. She said I was sick. She said I misunderstood everything. The officer listened, then turned to me. We will need statements, he said. I nodded. They spoke to Arjun next. His voice cracked. He admitted the withdrawals. He admitted signing my name. Ria screamed at him. Why are you talking? She yelled. He covered his face and cried. The officers asked Ria to sit down. She refused. She said the house belonged to her husband. She said I lived here for free. Advocate Sharma placed property papers on the table. This house is registered under her name, he said. She allowed them to stay. Silence fell. The officers asked Ria for her bank details. She hesitated. That hesitation spoke louder than words. They left after issuing notices. They said more steps would follow. When the door closed, Ria turned on me, her face twisted with rage. You planned this, she hissed. I protected myself, I replied. She grabbed her bag and stormed out of the house. Arjun stayed behind, shaking. I never wanted this, he said. Intent does not erase harm, I replied. That afternoon neighbors gathered, whispers spread. Ria returned late, quiet and tense. Days passed, Ria stopped speaking to me. Arjun moved between guilt and anger. The house felt cold. One evening my grandson fell sick. Fever rose fast. I carried him in my arms while Ria panicked. At the hospital the doctor spoke gently. He needs rest, the doctor said, and calm. I held my grandson close, his small fingers wrapped around mine. Ria watched us, something shifted in her eyes. Fear replaced pride. That night she spoke to me softly for the first time in years. I was afraid, she said, afraid of losing control. I listened. I did not forgive yet. The next morning a legal notice arrived, charges filed, accounts frozen. Ria read the letter, her hands trembled. She looked at me with a mix of anger and fear. You ruined us, she said. I met her gaze. You ruined yourself, I replied. That night Arjun packed a bag. Ria wants to leave for her parents' home, he said. I nodded. As they walked out, my grandson hugged my leg and cried. Come back soon, he said. I kissed his forehead. The house fell silent. I thought peace had arrived. I was wrong. 2 days later, I received a phone call. The voice on the other end spoke fast and low. Be careful, the voice said. Ria is planning something. My heart raced. I asked what kind of something. The line went dead. I stared at my phone, knowing the storm had not passed. A warning ringing in my ears, and the fear that the worst betrayal might still lie ahead. The warning call stayed in my head all night. I sat on my bed with the lights off, listening to every sound. The house felt different without them. Too quiet, too open. Fear crept into places where peace should have lived. By morning, I understood one thing clearly. When someone loses control, they often try to take it back in dangerous ways. I locked all doors and windows. I moved my documents into a small steel box and hid it under the floorboard beneath my bed. I kept my phone charged and close. I called Advocate Sharma and told him about the warning. He spoke slowly. "You did the right thing by calling," he said. "Do not meet her alone, do not sign anything. If she contacts you, record everything." I agreed. Later that day, Arjun came alone. His face looked tired and hollow. He sat across from me at the table where so many meals had once felt warm. "Riya is angry," he said. "She feels cornered." "She should," I replied. "She says you destroyed our future," he said. "Our," I repeated. "Did she include you in that word when she took my money?" He stayed silent. "She is asking me to convince you to withdraw the complaint," he said. "She says everything will go back to normal." I looked at him carefully. "Normal for whom?" I asked. He lowered his head. "For us," he said. "You mean for her?" I replied. He did not deny it. Before he left, I said one thing. "If you want to be a good son and a good father, stop standing in the middle, choose what is right." That evening, my neighbor Sunita came over. She whispered as if walls could listen. "Riya came here today," she said. "She asked questions about you, about your habits, about when you stay alone." A cold wave ran through me. That night rain fell hard, thunder shook the windows. Around midnight I heard footsteps outside, slow, careful. I held my phone tight and did not move. The footsteps stopped near my bedroom window. A shadow passed. Then silence. In the morning I found marks near the back door, scratches near the lock. Someone had tried to enter. I called the police station and informed them. They noted it and advised caution. 2 days later, Riya sent a message. "We need to talk, alone." I did not reply. Another message came. "If you do not withdraw the case, you will regret it." My hands shook. I took screenshots and sent them to Advocate Sharma. That afternoon Arjun called again. His voice sounded rushed. "She is losing control," he said. "She is blaming you for everything. She says you planned this from the start." "I planned survival," I replied. "She is meeting someone," he said. "Someone who helps with problems." That sentence frightened me more than shouting ever could. That night I slept with the lights on. The next morning a letter arrived, no return address, inside a single page. "Leave the house within 7 days." No signature. No names. Just threat. I did not cry, I felt calm, clear. I took the letter to the police station and added it to the record. 2 evenings later, Riya showed up without warning. She stood at the gate, rain soaking her hair, eyes red, face tight. "Talk to me," she said loudly. "You owe me." I did not open the gate. "Leave," I said. "You stole my life," she shouted. "I gave you respect." "You gave me insults," I replied. "You called me a parasite." Her face changed. Rage replaced control. She stepped closer to the gate. "If I lose my marriage, my home, my money, you will lose something too." My heart pounded. "Threats will not save you," I said. She laughed sharply. "You think the law protects old women fully," she said. "Accidents happen." That word stayed with me. Accidents. Neighbors gathered, someone called Arjun. Riya left before he arrived. That night, Advocate Sharma arranged temporary police patrol near the house. Still, fear followed me into sleep. Days passed slowly, the court date approached. Riya grew silent. Silence felt worse than noise. Then something unexpected happened. My grandson arrived with Arjun. "He keeps asking for you," Arjun said softly. The child ran into my arms. He hugged me tight. His small body shook. "Mama cried," he said. "She said everything is your fault." My chest hurt. That night I realized Riya might use the child as a weapon. The next morning I received a call from an unknown number. "If you want to see your grandson grow up safely," a man's voice said, "you will withdraw the case." I asked who he was. "You do not need to know," he replied. "Think wisely." The call ended. I sat down slowly. This was no longer anger, this was planning. I called Advocate Sharma and the police immediately. They took the call seriously. That evening, Arjun came back shaking. She met people, he said. People I did not know, she said they would scare you. I looked at him with tired eyes. Fear does not work on someone who has already lost everything, I said. That night I made a decision. I would not wait anymore. The next morning I went to the police station and gave a full statement. Every insult, every threat, every forged paper, every word spoken behind closed doors. The officer listened closely. This strengthens the case, he said. As I left the station, my phone rang again. Same unknown number. You made a mistake, the voice said. I stopped walking. What mistake? I asked. You involved the police too much, the voice replied. Now things move faster. The line went dead. I stood on the street, sunlight around me, fear pressing down hard. I knew something final was coming. I realizing the danger had reached its peak, and knowing the next move would decide everything. The final move came sooner than I expected. The next morning, police officers arrived at my door. Their faces looked calm but serious. One officer spoke gently. Margie, we have information about a planned act of intimidation, he said. You are safe, but we need your cooperation. I nodded. My heart beat fast, yet my mind felt clear. I had reached a point where fear no longer ruled me. Silence had ruled me for years. I refused to return to that place. At the station, I gave one last detailed statement. I spoke slowly. I repeated dates. I explained how the money left my account. I described the insults. I described the threats. I explained how Ria planned to force me out so she and Arjun could sell the house and use the money to start a business she had hidden from everyone. The officer asked, why did she turn against you? I answered clearly. She wanted control, she wanted money, she believed an old woman would stay quiet. They recorded everything. Later that day, Advocate Sharma met me at home. He explained the full picture in simple words. Ria planned to sell the house without your consent, he said. She opened accounts using forged papers. She pressured your son until he broke. When you stayed silent, she grew bold. When you spoke, she panicked. I asked about Arjun. He admitted everything, Advocate Sharma said. He cooperated fully. His honesty now reduces his punishment. That night, police arrested the man who made the threatening calls. He worked for a small group that scared people during property disputes. Ria had paid him using money taken from my account. The truth came out piece by piece. 2 days later, Ria was called in for questioning. She arrived angry and confident. She left quiet and pale. The evidence stood strong. Bank records, voice recordings, messages, witness statements from neighbors, the failed break-in attempt recorded by a nearby shop camera. She had no escape. Ria confessed. She admitted she planned to pressure me into leaving. She admitted she believed fear would work faster than kindness. She admitted she never expected me to fight back. I thought she was weak, Ria said during questioning. She never spoke. The officer replied calmly, silence does not mean weakness. The court process moved fast. The judge listened carefully, the law stood firm. The house remained mine, every stolen amount returned, the gold bangles recovered from a pawn shop. Ria faced charges for fraud, threats and abuse. Arjun stood beside me in court, tears filled his eyes. I failed my mother, he said. I stayed quiet when she needed me. I placed my hand on his arm. You spoke before it was too late, I said. Ria received punishment and mandatory counseling. The court also ordered her to stay away from me permanently. She looked at me one last time. Her eyes held regret mixed with shame. I lost everything, she whispered. I replied softly, you lost it when you chose cruelty. Life slowly settled. The house felt warm again. Light returned to corners once filled with tension. I planted flowers in the yard. I cooked without fear. I slept without listening for footsteps. Arjun visited often, he changed, he listened, he spoke honestly, he learned what silence costs. My grandson stayed with me on weekends. We read stories, we laughed, he asked why people fight. I told him some people forget kindness when they chase control. We must remember it. One afternoon he asked, "Are you brave, Nanny?" I smiled. Bravery means speaking when staying quiet hurts you. The lesson stayed clear in my heart. Silence protects abuse, speaking protects life. I did not seek revenge, I sought truth. Truth brought justice, justice brought peace. When I look back at the day Ria called me a parasite, I understand something now. Her words did not define me, my response did. I paid for everything, I gave shelter, I gave love. When love met cruelty, I chose courage. And one phone call changed everything.